I still remember the exact second my blood turned to ice. "You're covering the whole table tonight, right, Elias?" That big raise finally came through. My sister Lena's voice sliced through the crystal clink of that rooftop restaurant like a blade. $4,800 a head. 18 people staring at me like I'd already signed the check. I hadn't said a word. Not one. My fork froze halfway to my mouth. The wagyu tasted like ash. Across from me, my wife Nora squeezed my thigh under the linen tablecloth, hard, like she was trying to anchor me to the chair. Our boys, Liam and Noah, 8 and 10, looked up from their gold-dusted lobster mac and cheese, wide-eyed, sensing the shift in the air. I set the fork down. Smiled the same tired smile I'd worn for 15 years. "Excuse me. I need the restroom." That was the last thing I said to them that night. "You don't know me." "Not really. My name is Elias Harper. I'm 41. To my family, I'm the quiet one. The high school-only kid who fixes trucks for a living. The one who still shows up in faded jeans and work boots while everyone else parades designer labels. They love telling stories about how I never quite figured it out. How I'm comfortable, which in their language means scraping by. They have no idea I own Harper Fleet Services, 5 locations across the state, 68 employees, 8-figure revenue last year. I take home more in a month than most of them see in half a year. But I drive the same dented 2012 Silverado, live in the same modest ranch house I bought with cash 10 years ago, and let them keep their neat little story about who I am. Why? Because the moment I correct them, I become a resource instead of a brother. A son. An uncle. I learned that lesson young. 3 weeks earlier, Lena had called while I was elbow-deep in a Cummins rebuild. "Dad's 70th is coming up. We're doing Vivara. Saturday the 23rd. Whole family. You're coming." Not a question. Never a question with Lena. "How many?" I asked. "Just us. Intimate. 15, maybe 20. I said yes because I love my father. He spent 40 years wiring skyscrapers, came home with burnt fingertips and a bad back, and still managed to raise 3 kids after Mom died. He deserved a nice night. What I walked into was not intimate. Lena had invited her husband Victor's entire extended family, people I'd shaken hands with once at a wedding. Victor's parents, his sister from Denver, cousins I didn't recognize. 22 mouths total. The kind of crowd you bring when you want witnesses. Dad looked small at the head of the table, uncomfortable in a borrowed blazer, nursing a single glass of red he couldn't afford. He hates places like this. Always has. The night crawled along, oysters flown in from Hokkaido, wine older than my kids, plates so small they looked like mistakes. I kept my head down, talked engines with Noah under my breath, held Nora's hand. Then came dessert. Some ridiculous gold leaf chocolate orb that melted when they poured hot caramel over it. Lena stood, tapped her glass with a spoon. The room quieted like we were in church. "I just want to say how proud we all are. Dad, 70 looks amazing on you. Victor's parents, thank you for flying in. And Elias." She turned that practiced smile on me, the one she uses for Instagram. "I heard you finally got that foreman position. Huge congratulations. So tonight, dinner is on my little brother." Applause. Actual applause. Victor's mother reached over and patted my hand like I was a charity case who'd won the lottery. Lena's father-in-law boomed, "That's what family does." I felt every eye land on me. Expectant. Greedy. Nora's grip turned painful. I looked at Dad. He wouldn't meet my eyes, just muttered into his plate, "Be generous, son. It's a special night." Generous. With money they assumed I'd scraped together. For people who'd spent decades pretending. I didn't exist unless they needed something fixed for free. I stood slowly. Buttoned my jacket, the same one I wear to parent-teacher conferences. "Restroom," I said. "Come." "Too calm." Nora whispered, "Elias." I leaned down, kissed the top of her head. "Get the boys' coats." I didn't go to the restroom. I walked straight to the host stand. The maitre d' recognized me, I'd called ahead 2 days earlier, quietly reserved my own table for 4 in case things went south. Mr. Harper. Everything all right? I'd like to settle my family's portion now. Table of 4 only, myself, my wife, 2 children. He didn't blink. Pulled up the system. That's $2,140 including tax and service. I slid over the matte black card. The one I keep in a separate wallet. The one none of them have ever seen. He processed it silently. Added 30% gratuity without asking. And the remainder of the party? They'll handle it. Please present their check after the dessert course. Of course, sir. I collected Nora and the boys. We walked out into the crisp night air like we were escaping a fire no one else could see yet. My phone started exploding before we reached the valet. Lena first, screaming so loud I could hear her through the voicemail preview. Then Victor, colder, threatening to make this right. Then Dad, quiet, confused. Son, come back. We can figure this out. I didn't answer any of them. We drove home in silence at first. Then Noah, from the back seat. Are they mad at you, Dad? They're mad at themselves, Bud. They just don't know it yet. I waited for the fallout. It came in waves. The next morning I dropped off Dad's real gift, a restored 1953 Snap-on tool chest I'd spent 6 months tracking down and refurbishing myself. Worth more than the entire dinner. He opened the door in pajamas, eyes red. We need to talk. We sat on the same sagging couch I grew up on. Photos of my brother Theo's Harvard graduation took up half the wall. Mine, from trade school, wasn't anywhere. Lena says you humiliated her in front of everyone. She humiliated herself when she spent my money without asking. She thought you could afford. She didn't think. She assumed. And she lied about a promotion that doesn't exist. Dad rubbed his temples. It was my birthday. I know. That's why I'm here now, alone, bringing you something I chose with my own hands. Not performing for an audience. Silence stretched thick. When's the last time anyone asked how your year went, Elias? Really asked. He didn't answer. I left the tool chest in the hallway and walked out. Weeks passed. Radio silence from Lena. Theo, my golden brother, the investment banker, showed up at my main shop unannounced. Stood in the lobby in his $5,000 suit, looking at the wall of awards like he'd walked into the wrong building. This is yours. All of it. He wandered my office. Saw the framed revenue charts, the expansion plans, the photo of me shaking hands with the governor after we hit Small Business of the Year 3 years running. How long? Since I was 23. He did the math. Went pale. 18 years. 18 years of Thanksgivings where nobody once asked what I do all day. He sat heavily. I'm sorry. The words sounded foreign in his mouth. I didn't make it easy for him. Sorry feels light after 2 decades of being invisible. We talked, really talked, for the first time since we were kids. He left shaken. Promised to try. Dad called a week later. Voice thick. Theo told me everything. Why didn't you say something? Because you wouldn't have believed me. And even if you did, it would have changed how you treated me. I wanted to be seen for who I am, not what I'm worth. He cried. Actually cried. Apologized for every comparison, every disappointed look, every time he bragged about Theo while I sat quiet. It wasn't fixed. Not even close. But it was a crack in the wall. Lena never apologized. She sent one text, so it's true. You're actually rich. I left her on read. Christmas came. I hosted. Sent a group email, potluck at our place. Kids welcome. Casual. Lena replied, your house. Will it even fit everyone? She'd never been inside it. They arrived to a sprawling 5-bedroom I'd quietly renovated myself, open beams, heated floors, a kitchen bigger than her entire downstairs. Paid off. No mortgage. You could see her recalculating in real time. Dinner was messy, loud, real. Kids running wild. My prime rib a little dry. Gravy perfect. After dessert, Lena finally cracked. I googled your company. 68 employees. Expansion into 2 new states. Why hide it? Because the second I stopped hiding it, I'd stop being your brother and start being your ATM. The room went dead quiet. You spent years talking about helping Elias find direction, while I was running an empire. That's not love. That's control. She left early. Hasn't spoken to me since. Dad shows up every Sunday now. Brings donuts for the boys. Asks about quarterly numbers like he actually cares. Theo calls. We grab beers. He's learning success doesn't always wear a suit. And me. I still turn wrenches 3 days a week. Still get grease ground into my skin. Still drive that beat-up Silverado. But I sleep like a man who finally stood up straight. That night I walked out of Vivra, I didn't just dodge an $8,000 bill. I walked away from a lifetime of being the family footnote. Some bridges you don't burn. You just stop maintaining them. So I'm asking you, straight up. If your own family volunteered your money, your time, your worth without ever asking, would you have paid? Or would you have walked? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one. And if this hit you in the chest like it still hits me, share it. Someone else needs to hear they're allowed to walk away too. Thanks for watching. Do subscribe for more stories.